So, like, the first time we went to Quiz Bowl, it was at the NAC College, and there was a fountain, it was frozen, and Miss Langley went over there and put her tongue on it.
Did it get stuck?
Yeah.
How'd she get off?
I forgot.
That's bad.
Yeah, and walked on the ice and slipped.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. Got any more funnies?
Well, like one time we were doing this tunnel thing, and you had 17 minutes to get everybody across or through the tunnel, and each person had a certain time, and well, it was our first time doing it, and so Miss Langley was demonstrating, and we would go under a table to do it. And well, when she went under the table, there was dirt and stuff under there, and she got in all the dirt.
Oh, yuck. She say anything?
Not that I remember.
My name's Devon Duvall. I was a GT student of Miss Langley. One of my funniest moments was Miss Langley we were doing a Christmas parade, and it was centered around the Grinch That Stole Christmas. There were more boys than girls, and none of the girls wanted to participate, so someone had to be Cindy Lou Who. Well, none of us were willing to do it. Then Miss Langley came over and said, "Devon, you would look great as a girl," and I stuck on a wig, and she says that looks good, and I ended up playing Cindy Lou Who in the Christmas parade.
What a good sport.
Go. Okay. So in 4th grade yesterday, we were talking about things that we could put in a card for Jessilyn and her family. And so the kids were coming up with things that they could write. And so I asked some of the GT kids, since you know Jessilyn the best, or Miss Langley, how would you describe her? And one of the GT kids said, well, she was kind of weird, but weird in a good way. And I said, I don't know if we should put that in a sympathy card. How could we say that differently but be positive about it? So we came up with that she was different, but in a good way.
Very good.
I'm Sarah Duvall, and Miss Langley is my GT teacher. Last year, she got a map from the PE teacher, and we went out into the hall, and she made us up in a triangle. And then afterwards, she pushed us all over, and it was fun.
Miss Jessilyn was a special ed teacher early on in my teaching, and when just two rooms down at the 5th and 6th grade hall, we had a problem with the venting where you could hear everything that went on in the counselor's office. So one day I was tired of my kids, I locked the door, and I went and stood up on the counter, screaming for Miss Jessilyn, Jessilyn, help me. Well, she heard me while she was eating lunch in the other room, and she kept going, Jeff, do you hear that woman calling? Do you hear something? Somebody's calling me. So I waited and nearly laughed myself to death, and I go, Jessilyn, help me. Jessilyn goes, Jeff, do you hear that? Jeff was thinking that she'd gone out of her mind. In a few minutes, I heard, Mrs. Trask, if that's you, I'm going to beat your head in. And she came and rattled my door.
Jessilyn was downstairs at the front of the booth, at the front of the building, and I was coming down the steps, and she says, I walk in, and we were down there visiting, and she says, she had this little box in her hand, and she just was shaking it, and she just was just shaking it, and of course wanting me to ask her, what it was, and she goes, don't you like candy? And I said, well, yes. She knew I liked candy, and she said, well, you need a piece of this. And I said, no, not really. And she goes, yeah, you need a piece of this. And I was like, well, okay, fine. And so she takes the box, pours me a piece of candy in my hand, and it happened to be Valentine's candy, which is kind of weird, isn't it? And I got to looking at it, the little heart. You know how when you get the little heart, you always read what's on it. And I looked at it, and I thought, and it said bitch. And I was like, where did you get these? And she goes, I made them. And I was like, yeah, I could see. And I said, let's see what else is in there. And we got to going back and forth saying, oh, well, you should have put, such and such on here. Wouldn't that have been a good one? And everything. And I just thought it was neat that she shared her candy with me. Yes, yes.
Miss Langley, we were coming in from recess at 2:15, and it was actually didn't even happen to my class. It was Miss Tackett's class. Alondra did not want. Alondra and Miss Langley didn't always get along. Alondra sometimes was a little cantankerous, so we were coming in from recess, and Alondra saw Miss Langley standing in the hall, and Alondra just kind of screamed out and fell and went limp in the floor because she did not want to go see Miss Langley. So this was just about 2 months ago. So I told the sub, I said, I'll just take Alondra because I don't want to disrupt the other kids with Miss Langley. But and Miss Langley was glad that I did because Alondra was very cantankerous that day, and it would have not been a good 30 minutes of time for Miss Langley. So
my name is Anna Lubring, and I was in Miss Langley's Gifted and Talented program. So she did a lot of crazy, funny things. She made a lot of jokes about Jordan McLeod and the government. And then we were going to Withrow Springs National Park for a camping trip, and she told us a story about her husband who flooded his Jeep in the spring. And then when we were at the park, he came in and had the same Jeep that was flooded.
All right. First of all, I loved your mom, Jessilyn. Nobody like her. She just, it's like we all say, the things she did has made you laugh, and she was just a light to be around. Loved her. So, 2 funny stories. I've known her for a long time. We taught together at Green Forest. The first story is, not long ago, the last time I saw her, we were in Walmart. And I'm like walking around doing a little thing, and all of a sudden, somebody taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, dumbass." And I turn around, I'm like, who's calling me that? It was Jessilyn. That was typical. Okay, second story, Billy Bob Thornton comes to Eureka Springs to make that movie. Y'all remember that? So my husband sells the movie people some junk for their stuff so we can meet Billy Bob. We can get to go on set and meet Billy Bob. So I immediately call up Jessilyn because she's, always doing Sling Blade. She's like, all right, we can go meet Billy Bob. So we go. We're in my car going over there. My husband's never met her. He's like, who is this lady? She's funny, Anyway, and I'm kind of getting nervous thinking, ooh, I got to, figure out what I'm going to say. Billy Bob, I'm getting scared. And I'm like, Jessilyn, what are you going to say? We got to say something cool. And she's like, I'm going to say, can I have you, baby? And I'm thinking, crap. My husband said, is she going to really say that? Anyway, so I said, yeah, she probably will. So we get over there, we meet Billy Bob, and she was totally cool, and she did not say that. Her camera broke, and she couldn't get it to work. Billy Bob and her, they're like best friends. They're like hugging up on each other. It was ridiculous. I was kind of mad. I like Billy Bob. She's like, no, I like Billy Bob. Anyway, I loved her, y'all. I mean, just, we loved her. That's all I can say. Loved her.